Today we're doing a Cajun-style Southern shrimp and grits. I've got my good friend John Pauly, executive chef, Village Anchor Restaurant. Let's get started. All right, Cajun Southern style shrimp and grits. It's a dish that's been around for a long, long time, but I feel like it's gained a lot of momentum, a lot of popularity lately. My good friend John Pauly, executive chef, Village Anchor Restaurant, one of the gems here in town. John, why don't you tell me a little bit how you got into cooking?
Well, so at a young age, at about 6 years old, when I was about, right beside this table right here,
Right.
My grandmother, it was me and my grandmother all day long, cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
For sure.
All the time. And it just, one of those things that you set something beautiful in front of somebody, and it's magic, and I've just been addicted to it ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah. So did you go to culinary school? Or
I did, yeah. I went up to New York. I lived in New York for about 3.5 years.
Right.
Did culinary school, worked with some great restaurants up there, and eventually, came back
Worked
here.
your way down here.
Yeah,
well, that's awesome. All right, so what are we gonna do today with the shrimp and grits?
All right, so this is the Village Anchor shrimp and grits, and it's Southern inspired, just like the Village Anchor. We have the Cajun andouille sausage, the local country ham, the heirloom tomatoes, and the Gulf shrimp.
All right, awesome. And so Gulf shrimp, and people may not know, or people may do know, Gulf shrimp, obviously, they're better for you. They're caught in the wild instead of farm raised. They're bigger,
sweeter.
But you have to like shrimp. They are a shrimpy shrimp, right?
The absolute shrimpiest shrimp.
Absolutely, and that's a technical term for you, shrimpy shrimp.
Yeah.
What size shrimp do you use?
These are 13-15, which means there are between 13 or 15 shrimp per pound.
Okay,
So
okay.
bigger guys.
Perfect, so they present better. Obviously, you cut the sausage on the bias, I saw that.
Yeah.
Got a good shrimp stock going here. How do you guys make your shrimp stock?
So we use the shrimp shells. We get these shrimp in from the Gulf, and they are completely covered in that shell. And what we do is, these are kind of mostly the way done, but we take these shells off here, and we boil them with the shrimp shell and some onion for about 30-40 minutes, not too long. It stays sweet. If you cook any stock too long, it gets that bitter, broken down
Absolutely.
flavor to it.
Okay.
Unless you're making ramen, my boy's favorite thing, we boil it all day.
Awesome. All right, so the grits, where are the grits from?
Grits, local. These are Weisenberger brand, which is a Kentucky grit. Just really simple, heavy cream, water, salt, and a lot of Kenny's cheddar.
Absolutely. Now, if you all have seen my cousin Vinny, you'll see that they say no self-respecting Southerner would ever use an instant grit. So we don't use instant grits. Take about what, 25 minutes, 30 minutes to cook?
At least,
okay.
Yeah. And little secret, 8-to-1 ratio, 8 cups of cream to 1 cup of grit.
Perfect. That's handy information. Now, you obviously would want to dumb that down if you're cooking for a smaller amount of people. You don't need.
Yeah, you wouldn't kill anybody.
Exactly right. Exactly right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. What's your first thing?
All right. So we're gonna start with rendering down, and you want to tell them what rendering means? I'm sure you.
Okay. So you're gonna put in the sausage first.
I'm gonna do the sausage
and the ham.
And the ham.
Okay. So what he said is we're gonna render down the sausage and the ham, and basically what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take some of that fat out of the product. And then we're gonna brown it a little bit, heat it up. It's gonna be really, really good.
Okay, so what makes the Village Anchor's grits the best shrimp and grits is really simple. You start with butter and you end with butter.
I mean, who doesn't love butter? Now you use unsalted butter, right?
It's unsalted butter, yeah.
So we're really big on unsalted butter, and we've talked about it before, but unsalted butter means you get to control the amount of salt that goes in the dish. If it's salted, then you're at the mercy of whatever they're using.
Correct.
So
you gotta check that label, because if you forget, you can have the most perfect dish, and at the very end you'll ruin it with that extra pinch.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're rendering ham and sausage, and we're just gonna saute this down, and then we'll start adding. The beautiful thing about shrimp and grits is that it's basically, besides the grits, it's a one-pan dish, so it's really all right here.
Right, so all those flavors stay right in there.
Exactly.
The fat that you've got coming out, right? The fat that you've got coming out, that's gonna help make your sauce. Exactly right.
Yep, and then we got garlic going in here.
Crushed garlic.
Yep, I cut this by hand earlier.
You don't have to cut it by hand, makes your hands stink a little bit. Little tip though, you can use gloves, which I love to use, or I've heard that you could even you rub your hands on stainless steel,
Yeah, I heard that.
and that'll take the smell from garlic away. The gloves work just fine in that
Mom
regard.
told me that. She actually had one of those little stainless.
Oh, like the little egg-looking thing, yeah?
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I don't either. Oh my gosh, it smells so good already. Absolutely delicious.
So these tomatoes that are in here, these are heirloom tomatoes. Of course, you can use other types of cherry tomatoes, but you can always go to your local farmer's market, especially in the summertime.
Absolutely.
You do. And you just want to break these up. And what we do is we roast these tomatoes just a little bit to get them soft so that when you put them in your pan, you can start breaking them up.
Absolutely. Smells absolutely delicious. Is saute one of your, what's your best? Saute, grill, what?
Man, I started on grill as my first job, and I have literally worked actually, I started as a dishwasher, of course, and then I've worked my way up. So I don't know where the pan flip came from.
Well, that's what I was saying. So I learned using dry rice, and some of our other guests before had to use kosher salt.
That's a really good idea.
So eventually you just learn, and obviously easier way to mix throughout, get the sauces going, incorporate all of those flavors.
Yeah, and any chef would rather have you lose 30 cents of rice than
Absolutely.
$25 a shrimp right now.
Absolutely. One of the things when you're sauteing shrimp, you've got to be very, very careful. Shrimp don't take that long to cook. And so you can notice if the shrimp curls up into like a really tight ball, then it's going to start to get overcooked. So it's one of those things that you wouldn't know. It just would be a more firm bite than maybe like a soft bite would be, or something that you would enjoy.
That's right. And you don't want to wait until your shrimp's all the way cooked before you start adding this stock right here. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some overcooked shrimp. All right, so while we're doing...
So when you're frying the okra, generally you fry them till what, they float? Or is it like a minute? Did you say that already? I don't remember.
So I look for texture. I'm looking for a color, actually. When almost all fried food, I'm looking for color. So that golden brown, and if your okra's already frozen, maybe that dark
Okay.
color of okra.
Okay, perfect.
So the shrimp right here is just about ready. So what I do is I take my grits, and I'm gonna lay these out long ways. You just grate in a bowl too, you don't have to use a plate.
All right, so how did you come up with the presentation on this? I know like when I present things, I use a lot of negative plate space, things like that.
I do the same thing with shrimp and grits in particular. I do like to keep it a little messy.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
it's a southern dish, and the sloppiness of it is kind of what I think people want to see. But with shrimp in particular, I like putting them up. I love it when I have some kind of a bed to just bury the shrimp in. So
Absolutely.
no matter what you do to it, it's just gonna stay still.
You all, if you could smell this, the garlic, the tomatoes, the shrimp stock, it's just absolutely amazing. Of course, you can smell a little bit of that Kenny's cheddar that's in the grits.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
And this is one of those dishes where it really doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. It is
No,
good.
summertime.
Hot time, cold time.
Absolutely.
All right. So this andouille sausage, I use that for heat, for spice.
Right, so we gotta add that Cajun style to it.
Exactly, right.
Absolutely. All right, so
I said in the beginning I was going to start with butter and end with butter. It's time to end with butter. So we're going to go ahead and do the Kenny's cheddar here. This looks like it could be done, but it is not. Smell that okra?
absolutely. And okra, it'll kind of thicken a little bit too as you're frying it.
It will, yeah. And I mean, okra is very versatile. That is your quintessential summertime vegetable right there.
So lemon juice. He's using a juicer so you don't have to dig the seeds out. Pretty smart idea.
It's a lazy man's way, I would say.
It's all right. It's efficient.
Efficient, yeah, exactly. You don't have time to waste in the kitchen.
Right.
All right, so we got our lemon
So
juice. in
one
there.
lemon.
And now we're just gonna start adding butter to this thing.
So I saw earlier you used it looked like about a quarter cup of butter, or what would be about a stick of butter.
Yeah, I would say that's about how
Yeah.
I started with.
And then,
So all said and done, I'm gonna use about 1/3 of a pound of butter.
okay. Perfect.
So, yeah, perfect, right?
Who doesn't love butter?
So, just break this butter up,
Let it get happy.
make it happy.
100%.
Exactly right. I saved a couple of these tomatoes just for
Presentation.
for presentation purposes.
Awesome.
It'll look good in there. So here's our okra. This is all just about done. See anything else I'm missing here? Got a lot of ingredients going on here.
Oh, you're the expert.
All right, now pour it right over top. So kind of sloppy looking, but oh man.
Oh, it smells unbelievable. 100% that you wish that your phone was scratch and sniff right now.
Green onions?
Green onions, I love putting green on my plates for color. Plus they add some flavor.
And it's, I mean, it wouldn't be Cajun food without a handful of green onions.
Absolutely.
And then finish off with a little more of that local
Kenny's cheddar. And so Kenny's cheddar just happens to be local for us here. It's got a really nice pungent bite to it. If you're watching this somewhere, I'm sure there's a farmer's market that's got a local cheddar for you. You are going to want to get a sharp cheddar that'll have a stronger flavor for you, better finish to your bite.
And it goes well with those tomatoes too.
Absolutely. Voila! Cajun style Southern shrimp and grits. Andouille, Gulf shrimp, cheddar cheese grits. Thank you so much, John, for coming on the show. If you had any questions at all about what we did today, or maybe you'd like to come visit and join us on the show, email me at info@swdgroup.com. John Pauly, Executive Chef, Village Anchor Restaurant. I'm Rob D'Alessio, and this was A Taste of Retirement.